Hey, Centrell.
Hey, Jen.
What are you listening to this week? Welcome to What Are You Listening to This Week? The weekly podcast where we talk about our favorite songs. Some old, some new, all good. I'm Jenn Tully, and this week I'm joined by businesswoman, community leader, and advocate Centrell Reed. Centrell is a leader forging her own path in media with Creed Global Media's television network. CGM TV provides videography services, access to studios, and television distribution streaming services. In addition to being founder and president of Creed Global Media, Centrell is also spearheading the Houston entertainment industry expansion. This week's episode has some great songs, old and new. And now, on Spotify, you can listen to the show with the songs we discuss incorporated. Just search for What Are You Listening to with Music. If you're not listening on Spotify, be sure to give the playlist a listen and then tune into our conversation. With that, let's get started. Centrell, what are you listening to this week?
I'm listening to a whole lot of stuff, yet we're going to focus on just a few things. I'm super
Okay.
excited to be here, Jen. I guess we could start with Believe for It by Cece Winans. One of my favorites. One of my favorites. Cece Winans is one of my favorites, yet the song Believe for It, I think, is everything that people need, whether they are spiritual or not, especially entrepreneurs, just thinking about the vision you have, and no matter how you feel or what you see, knowing that it's going to happen, right? So it's just a constant reminder, and I just love it, and I love that it came from her.
Same exact note. That was my very first note about the song was that it's inspirational and it applies no matter what higher power you believe in. You know, whether it's the universe, yourself, God, Buddha, it does not matter. I feel like this song is just flat out inspirational. You know, her voice is so strong. And another note that I wrote, I often talk about like a really strong, powerful voice, but for her, the word that kept coming to mind was fortified. Her
Yeah.
voice just feels fortified. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's from years and years of singing, and I honestly believe her songs come from a different place, like from a
Mm-hmm.
stronger connection to her spiritual, creator, and that to me comes through. So whatever she's believing in, she's pushing all of that through that song. Hopefully you're grabbing a little bit of it and you're combining it with what you believe, and it helps to push you forward. So absolutely, her voice is like, it's just like a smooth melody. It's definitely has just those just those tones in it that make you feel comforted. Like, yeah, absolutely, I should believe. No matter what it is, I should believe. And it's also almost like one of those, because she is a tried and true singer. It's one of those people saying, "Hey, I've been there, and I want you to do this." It's the instruction of how you believe, and not to be listening to all the things that are probably running through your mind when you're
Yes.
juggling belief with thought and feeling, and she touches that. And coupled with that, I actually had the opportunity to see her at Joel Osteen's church, Lakewood, and
Wow.
that was just an amazing thing for Mother's Day this year. And just listening to the ad libs, the things that she says on the microphone that are not in the song. And one of the things that I took away from her performance was, it doesn't matter what it looks like, and it doesn't matter what it feels like. And what it feels like is not what's in the song. Yet that's very true, because many times we operate off of emotions, and what we
Mm-hmm.
feel we consider reality, when really those are fleeting moments and they're temporary. So I love that she's educating you in the song on, this is how you believe. You believe because you stick to it. It doesn't matter what you see, it doesn't matter what you feel. You just stick to the belief, and then you'll watch it happen in your reality. So Yeah,
So
perfect.
true. So true. And put together just so beautifully in a song. And I said later on when we get to my songs, I said, you brought the nutrition for our 4 songs today. And I brought the candy because you brought these
Ah,
really like beautiful, meaningful songs. And then I just brought silliness. So I thank you for keeping us at a higher level here today, Centrell.
this is a whole candy bar worth of wonderful music. So we're gonna take it all. And I love sweets, so I'm not exactly sure how I missed that. Well, this is the light sweet. You're about to bring the heavy sweet. That's what
That's
we're doing.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, for your second song, tell me what else you have on repeat this week. You had the beautiful Cece Winans song. What else are you listening to?
Children's Story by Slick Rick. Yes, yes, yes. That's Slick Rick. Let me tell you, we're talking about storyteller. And
Yes.
we know that, in the rap genre, and when you start talking about hip hop and all of those wonderful things, the pioneers of the space, and just being able, because that's really what rap is. It's telling the story of lives, it's telling the story of, experiences, exposures. And Slick Rick's children's story, it's the way he told it, because it actually is. He's telling a children's story, right?
He
Yet
is.
it's the way he tells it, and I mean, the way you can groove to that, and it doesn't matter where you are in any concert. And I actually had the opportunity to see him perform this in Houston at the warehouse, and this was like, I don't know, maybe it was like 5 years or so ago, and it was still hitting. I was like, all right, Slick. Just it was a wonderful way to make music with a story that wasn't really about something. It was just, him doing something fun. And of course I knew all the words, so it was like, yeah, I felt like I was a little rap artist. Somebody should put me on the compilation. They need to go ahead and make it Creed, you know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and drop a couple bars on them. That's what I want to say. Yet that's not my life. So, yeah,
Well,
I love his creativity for sure.
same, same. And I thought this needs to be your new go-to karaoke song, Central. I
I
like,
would take it. I would take
right?
it.
You know
Yes.
what? I love this album and it was so fun to like get back into it. And the Great Adventures of Slick Rick album, I will tell you, this is going to date me, but I'll what I remember most about that album aside from listening to it with all of my friends on a cassette tape and a boombox is roller skating. That these songs were on like high rotation at the roller rink back in the day. So
Yes.
that was
Yes.
something that came to mind. So that's what I always had associated with this album. And then as I listened as an adult, the thing that struck me about it is that 34 years later, the song came out in 1988. We're still having the same kind of conversations. The
Absolutely.
message that
Yes.
Slick
So
Rick,
right on time.
like him, the things he's talking about in that song are conversations that we are still having today. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, like how long does it take to have your voice heard? Like that
Ooh.
was it. It just like I just scratched my head a little bit and was like, what I had associated with this song. And I love this song and I always have, but it really did strike me listening as an adult. Like, wow, like we,
Hmm.
there's still a lot to do here if we're
Yeah.
having the same conversation 34 years later. And
Absolutely there is. And he was on time and ahead of his time all at the same time. And
yeah,
yeah, morals in the story, at the end of the story, like you're hearing it, you're listening to it, and he's teaching you at the same time, so that's the creativity, that's the art of being musician and a lyricist.
well, and a pioneer like Slick Rick, I mean, I think he was a character from his eye patch to, rapping with a British accent, like all
Mhm.
of the things. But the fact that he, again, like I said, has this song that's still relevant all these years later, the fact that he's been sampled over 1,000 times. If you've listened to Eminem, Beyonce, the Beastie Boys, you've heard a Slick Rick sample, kids, I'm sure,
Yes.
in somebody else's song if you haven't heard him. He went to LaGuardia High School for Music and Art, the Fame School. Like he's
Oh.
clearly like a super talented guy. And whenever we talk about story raps, like he's kind of the king of that. He has another great song on this album called The Ruler's Back. That was a big Beastie Boys sample in that song. But I think to be such a pioneer and still relevant all these years later, like you can't ignore Slick Rick whenever you're talking about pioneers, especially pioneers of hip hop. I think pioneers of music, but especially pioneers of hip hop. He's just
Absolutely.
unforgettable.
Slick Rick is not to be ignored. He definitely should be on the list of conversation when when it's had. So, yeah, those were my picks. And gosh, there could have been so many more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because
Yeah.
there are many times when in these spaces I find music that's going to uplift me or reinforce the really good things. And yeah, it's all over the spectrum. So this is always a great conversation to have because music is how we express ourselves. It's also a way that we learn, so, and it's very easy for us to take in. It's just a part of our human experience. So, yeah.
And the thing I love about having these conversations too, and the goal that we always talk about at Super Awesome Mix, whether it's, the Super Awesome Mix show or whether it's this show, is we really are looking to find community through music or the shared love of a song. Like I think that I think that's whenever you focus on how we're more the same than we're different. And like a song that you had a very different experience with, maybe I had a very different experience with, and we still love it the exact same amount. That's
Yep.
what's cool to me. That's why I love having these conversations, and why I will until I can't talk anymore. I will talk to people about music because it makes me always feel closer to people than I ever have with any other conversation.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, and with that, so we've had the nutritious part of the conversation. Like I said, you brought us two meaty, wonderful songs, and now I'm just taking us to like Candyland, where we're just going to dance around and turn it up and get ready to go out with our girlfriends and drop a song called Stone Rollin' by Rafael Saadiq.
Oh yeah, all right, Sugar Plum Fairies. Love Raphael.
I love Rafael Saadiq, and this album came out in 2011. It's the album of the same name, and it's so bluesy. It's so celebratory. I'm like, you want me on the dance floor, you play anything from Michael Jackson's Off the Wall album or this song.
I was
Those are
so
my
surprised when I saw this song on your list. I was like, what? First of all, Raphael? Like, what does she know about Raphael? That's what I was thinking, right? And
love.
then for it to be a bluesy song, I mean, you could have chosen so many of his other songs, and he's participated in music, whether it was from, being a solo artist or being a
Yep,
part of the group Tony Tony Tone. I
yep.
mean, so it's like, this song, all right, Jen, I have a whole new respect for your musical, exposure here. Getting some props
I
for
love,
sure.
well, and I love Tony, Tony, Tony too. Like back in the day, like I feel like you can hear again Raphael Sadiq's influence in so many different things. But this
Oh
song,
yeah.
like I said, you play anything from Off the Wall, I will not ever sit in my chair. You play this song, I'm like out there, making it happen on the dance floor because
All
I
right,
love
making
this
it
song.
happen. Moves. I need to see these moves. I need to see. I need to
I need
see
to
these moves.
I need to lower expectations then.
I'm gonna make sure that when I have my next get together that I put these two things off the wall and throw some Raphael on there. I better not see anybody named Jennifer sitting in a chair. That's all
You
I'm
won't.
saying.
You won't. I'm telling you, these lyrics, how can you sit whenever he's saying things like, you make a blind man walk away from home. You'll tell your girlfriend you want to be alone. It makes an old man throw away his cane. I mean, he's like painting a
Oh my
picture here.
God.
And
He
I'm
is.
on,
Is he
who
singing to
doesn't,
you, Jen?
he is. He's singing about a big booty girl. That could be
Oh
me.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I think that's how we all feel when we listen to these songs. We're like, all right, Raphael, go ahead. Keep talking. Keep talking. You have my attention.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. I love this song. If you're not familiar, definitely go check this one out. Rafael Sadiq is not to be missed. And then once you're done dancing your booty off, I'm going to set you into a mellow, chill space with my second pick, a song called Set Adrift on Memory Bliss by PM Dawn.
Another surprising pick. I was like, what? And I remember this song from, my college days, and I
Me
was
too.
like, what? I mean, that was like a flashback, so smooth. So, I mean, he's talking about a girl, right? You
Is.
love the talking about girl songs, I tell you,
That's
where these
right.
guys are like all into everybody wants to be adored. This is not a Prince situation yet. It kind of is, right? We
Right.
we love it when the men are saying sweet things, and yeah, and when they sing it with a nice melody in the background, or maybe it's like PM Dawn, like it's this half sing, half rap kind of thing. Yeah, with a nice
So
smooth
good.
chorus. Yeah, it's really good. It's yeah. When you're thinking about me, I can see you just drifting off into this bliss, right?
Yeah, that's right. I just and I like that, the song was originally it was from an album called Of the Heart of the Soul and the Cross, The Utopian Experience, and it was from 1991. Actually, the version that'll be on the playlist is a 2014 re-record on the Welcome to the Far Universe album, because Spotify did not have, it's rare that Spotify doesn't have a song, but they did not have the original version. So I will say, if you could like seek out the original, it is slightly different. This one is still a great version, but that original is beautiful. And the song is built around samples. Primarily the song "True" by Spandau Ballet, and I love that too. That PM Dawn took this a kind of, not the song "True" was popular, but Spandau Ballet was much bigger in the UK than they were here, and they take this crazy song from across the pond and build their whole song around it. And then it's also got Ashley's Roach Clip by the Soul Searchers, and then Bob James' version of Paul Simon's Take Me to the Mardi Gras are also sampled in it, but certainly True is the recognizable sample in it. And it's just, this song is just such a vibe. It was a vibe when I first heard it, in 1991, and it's a vibe now when I put it
Yeah.
on. And even, my daughter, who's 14, and her friends will come over and they're like, "What's that song? I like that song."
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's so mellow, and the wordplay in the song, I love. Just again, they sort of they talk some of it. Some of it sounds a little bit more like a rap, but he's
Hmm.
got these great phrases. There's one that says, "The camera pans to a cocktail glass behind a blind of plastic plants to find a
Hmm.
lady with a fat diamond ring. Then I can't remember a damn thing." It's like he was so caught up, that he just
Like
can't.
wow.
And then he throws us "Careless Whisper" for a careless man, "Neutron Dance" for a neutron fan. We get
Hmm.
a reference to "Careless Whisper" by George
Yeah.
Michael, "Neutron Dance" by the Pointer Sisters. It's just, I love that. And then "An eye for an eye, a spy for a spy." It's just the wordplay in the song. I'm a big lyrics gal. We talk about them a lot on the show. And I just think the song is like an observer's anthem, right? For those people that just sort
Right.
of sit back and
People
watch what's
watch.
going on. Yeah. So that's what when I was putting the song down, the last thing I thought of, I'm like, yeah, it's an observer's anthem. That's what I'm going to go with for "Set Adrift on Memory Bliss."
Well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, you start thinking about the collaborations with different artists from different places. I think about like U2 and Mary J. Blige, and even
Hmm.
when Run DMC did that collaboration, it was like, what is going on? Where you're taking different genres and you're putting them together. You see things like this, and you realize that those things are happening all the time. They were
Yep.
happening where they were testing and touching different styles of music and putting them together, because that is the creativity of music. Like you think, oh, we've seen it all. We have hip hop, we have R&B, we have, jazz, we have, country, we have rock, we have, all of those types of music. Then people start doing things like neo soul, and then there was heavy metal, and then now you've got all of folks are just playing around with whatever moves them. And this is where you get to really understand how creative and how complicated yet how simple we all are as people, that we just love melody. It's music and words, you know?
Yeah. And telling a story, it's like you said, it's whether we're talking about a kooky collaboration of Run DMC and Aerosmith, or, even more recently, something like a Lil Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus, like who would have ever said,
right.
like I would have loved to have been in that pitch meeting, like, okay, these are the two guys we're going to put together,
Right,
Like,
right.
and that song was I think it went multi-platinum, it was a huge hit. So again, I love it. I love it every time an artist challenges us to expand into a genre that we don't know as well as we maybe could or should, or challenges us to listen differently about how we interact with one another. And I think all of those collaborations do a great job at illustrating that, and then bringing us something that we love, that we can go back to time and time again and remember, what, if Lil Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus can find a way to collaborate, maybe we can too,
You would think it would be that simple, right? It's like,
One
oh,
day it will be.
Snapple.
One day. It's my
What
dream.
is it? Well, then you know what? I will go ahead and put my dream with your dream. That's two dreams. Thank you. We'll make it
Yes.
happen.
We will. We will. The collaboration is there. You just have to take advantage of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And until then, we'll continue to enjoy really good music by all of these wonderful people that have blessed and graced us during this time. It's like all our
Definitely.
lives. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Centrell, thanks so much for sharing what you're listening to this week. I've so enjoyed our conversation.
Oh,
And to,
absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
and to learn more about Centrell, you can follow her on Instagram at Centrell Reed. That's CentrellReed. And to learn more about Creed Global Media, you can visit creedglobalmedia.com. Again, that's CreedGlobalmedia.com, or follow them on Instagram at Creed Global Media. Thank you for listening, and please join me again next week to find your new favorite song.